Hey, it's John Foss talking with Hugh Dillion. Hugh, thanks for being with us. And I gotta say, I watched Yellowstone, all of the episodes, and watched them with a group of friends, and we would always talk after the episodes. And one of the friends said that you need to watch Mayor of Kingstown, and I did. I've seen all the episodes. Great show, congratulations. And you are the writer, director, producer, actor, everything. How do you do all of this, and how did this come about?
Well, I mean, Taylor Sheridan and I were two broke actors in Los Angeles 15 years ago. 10 years ago, he was my acting coach. And 10 years ago, we had this script. I'm from a town that had 9 penitentiaries at the time, a women's pen, a maximum pen, a medium security. My hockey coaches were two cops who, had guns on their ankles and left them on the bench during hockey practice. Friends' parents were prison guards. My mom was a teacher. It's just all of it. Taylor is from Texas. So we would just get together, and instead of him coaching me on whatever audition I didn't even want to go to, he would say, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I would love to, I'd rather make a show. And I got a couple ideas. And he had very serious opinions about justice. And, he's from Texas, and he knew how people were affected by crime and punishment, and collateral damage, and all of it. And this guy could deconstruct from coaching, could deconstruct a scene, characters, a world in a heartbeat. I'd never seen anything like it. And I knew that, I just knew that this guy has something, and he was, I hate to say but he was my acting coach. But I was like, there was something about him. He just had a confidence and a charisma, and he understood, what it was? He just really understood character and story, and he was uncompromising. And we would, like two musicians, we would write a song, and basically that's what we did. And it just turned out to be a script, and he's just an authentic American voice, and I'm lucky that he's been so loyal, and he has so much integrity, and here we are.
And it sounds like some of the things in the show are actually things that you saw in your life. Number one, is that the case? Number two, are you using what you saw and the maybe injustices that you saw to make change in society today through the show?
It's all of it. You pull from everywhere you can. And what's great about Taylor is he will find these little tiny authentic pieces and weave it into a bigger story. I mean, this is really about one of the most brutal and unfair places on the earth in the 21st century, and they're the prisons in our own cities. And it's about how people are affected. And even in my own life as a kid, you'd see the guard towers, and it was like, is that Disneyland? And then the further you investigate, it's the polar opposite. And and as a kid, I in the town I was from, you'd see people in the papers. They would track, for example, a serial killer, and then you'd see them get arrested in some other city. But as a kid, that they're coming to your city because that's where they're going to put them. And so it's just, how does that all bleed into our civilization and into our civilized culture, and how does that affect all of us, personally, emotionally, and how are we desensitized by it? It's just an interesting, and we had never seen it before, this business of incarceration, and the business of the incarceration on the street, and how it affects all of us. And that's, I think, what makes it unique. And it's got all the flaws and all of the ugliness and the beauty. And on a technical level, it's shot really well. It's a beautiful looking show. It looks like a movie. I mean, Taylor will say it himself. It's a 10-hour movie. We've just cut it into 1-hour increments.
As I mentioned earlier in the interview, you're a co-creator, producer, writer, actor in this show. Is it hard to do all of these roles, because it seems like they would be kind of contradictory as far as the way the brain works? Acting is one part of the brain, and then it seems like all these other roles would be totally different, and then co-creator is such a big part in itself. Was it hard to do these things, and did they contradict each other, or did they kind of work together?
In this particular case, because the story is so close to me, and because I created it with Taylor, it's just all the same thing. I mean, right down to the music. And, we've got great people who work with us. Michael Friedman, who's producer on Yellowstone, is also a producer on this. It's, Taylor he has got it's an undefined skill set, but really what it is he is able to see the whole thing on on so many different levels that he creates a team. So you've got great people around you, and that is part of it. It's that camaraderie and that total commitment from all involved, down to the actors, down to Jeremy Renner and Diane Wiest, and down to Ben Richardson, the cinematographer, who just sets the tone for how the show looks, to how Taylor casts it, and and for me, just as a musician, I've got a couple of songs in it, and I'd always be talking to Taylor, well, what's the music going to sound like? What? And he just has the answers. And when you deal with somebody who just has no BS, for lack of a better word, it just makes everything else easy, because you're not fighting all these other things. You're just, you just follow the vision. It's on the script. It's on the page. Let's just execute this, and it's going to rock. And you've got, Jeremy Renner who's hit another level in, being able to nail this performance and the level of commitment. And Diane Wiest, who just is a force in nature. You're part of this world that's moving, and it just feels, there's a confidence that comes with it because everybody's so committed. And when you work with people like that, it just becomes effortless in many ways.
Very similar to Yellowstone when it was a new show. Mayor of Kingstown feels like it is the hot show right now and very successful. When you were going through all the motions and work to put this thing together and get it to where it is now, did you have any idea that it would be as successful as it is, or what do you think now that you've seen it come to fruition?
No, it's not a surprise. I mean, the tough part was the 10 years, because then it's like, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And the thing that wasn't a surprise is watching, Taylor's been my mentor. I knew he had it even when we didn't have any money, and he was coaching me. It's like, so it was no surprise to watch Sicario happen, to watch Wind River happen, and watch him move into, directing. And it was no surprise that Yellowstone happened. And, and with this show, I think it was 2 years ago that he said, okay, we're going, the show's greenlit, it's happening. And we had Renner, and I'd worked with him. I played the bad guy in Wind River, and Renner was in that. And I just I'd seen how Taylor, I've seen behind the scenes, really. I see how he works and how he assembles all of it. And, I saw how well it worked with Kevin Costner, and I was just an actor on that show. But because I'm part of the Taylorverse, I can see behind the scenes, and you see how, it is a singular vision, and watching somebody, and that helps us because it's not, a round table of a bunch of people and their opinions. It's Taylor calling the shots. The buck stops with him. And in my case, I was lucky that I was, we co-created Mayor of Kingstown, but you need that vision. I have it with my band. It's like you need somebody who writes the lyrics and who knows how that is meant to be and is so skilled at the detail. And it's just a dream come true, and it's a pleasure just to work with all of these folks.
And speaking of Yellowstone, I mean, most people would be extremely happy in your field to be a part of one of these shows that has been as successful as it has been and just turned out so well. What is Yellowstone and working on that film or on that show been like for your experience?
Well, that goes back a few years for me. And that was when, Taylor went, Mayor of Kingstown's going to happen. You got to be patient. There's I'm shooting Yellowstone, and, I shot Wind River in Utah, and I loved it. And just to go up there, and Utah and Montana, and Taylor knew I'd love it, and I did, and I love the people, and Kevin Costner was awesome, and the cast is great, and just to get to live there as an actor, and just to see, for me, what it was he knew that I was interested in not just acting and how everything works behind the scenes, and to learn that, and to be, to start working with Michael Friedman, the producer on both Yellowstone and Mayor of Kingstown, and just to see how this dude operates, just how many things can't get past you. You need to make sure you've got every angle on every shot. You need to make sure you've got the aerials. You need to make sure you're shooting in a helicopter, not a drone, because we want it to be more authentic. And it's like it's boot camp for filmmaking. If you spent any time with Taylor Sheridan or Michael Friedman, his producer, that's what that is. You need to shut up and listen. And if you want to succeed, and that's what that taught me. It's just like, and then the acting is secondary. That was just a beautiful experience for me, because I got to work with Kevin Costner and in this beautiful environment, and Renner with Wind River. It just I don't have enough good things to say about just that part of America. I had always I'm from a city. I'd always kind of lived in cities, and just to be in that part of Utah and Montana was eye-opening.
Well, Hugh Dillion, thanks so much for being with us. Twin Cities, make sure you check it out. It's Mayor of Kingstown, new episodes every Sunday night on Paramount Plus. Hugh Dillion, co-creator, producer, writer, actor. Thanks so much for being with us.
Cheers, thanks.